Many of you have asked, can you buy a car in Portugal? Can you buy a car here on the island of Madeira? And today we're going to talk about that.
Welcome to Track Us Down. If you're just finding us, I'm Monique.
And I'm Doug. Our channel is all about moving abroad and living a better second half of life. And moving abroad can be retiring early, or it can be working as a digital nomad. This is the perfect place for it here in Portugal.
We make our base on the beautiful island of Madeira. Today we are at beautiful Palero Gulf, overlooking the bowl of Funchal.
Can you buy a car here on Madeira in Portugal? We get asked that so many times. And the simple answer is yes. You do not have to be a citizen of Portugal. You do not have to be a resident of Madeira or Portugal to buy a car. As with any big purchase, the main thing you need is a NIF, which is your fiscal number here in Portugal, and a bank account here in Portugal. If you get those items ahead of time, you're off to the races if you want a race car.
So do you need a car here on Madeira? You can absolutely take the transit system. They have a beautiful transit system that can take you all over Funchal, and even transit, they can take you outside of Funchal. We did that for a while. We took the bus and it was fine, and occasionally we rented a car for a day or two to explore the island. But after a while, you get the urge to go wherever you'd like. You want to go to different stores in Funchal, you want to go to other places on the island, and we did feel a need to have a car. There are lots of places to go here on the island, and so it's really nice to have your own vehicle. So we do think that when you live here on Madeira that you do need a car. What kind of car do you need here on the island?
The number one consideration, I think, is size. Size actually matters. Does it? Okay. Well, if size matters, you want a small car here on the island. The roads are small, the parking places are small, the parkades are small. It'll be so much easier to get around. It's more cost effective, it's more efficient, it's just a more enjoyable driving experience. Gone are the days of the big Chevy Avalanches and 4Runners and the 4x4s. You see the odd Jeep here, not too many. We would highly recommend a small car here on the island. Another main consideration is power. We started off with a small 1.2 liter gas engine. It did not have the power. We like to drive all over the island. It did not have the power to go up the hills and up the steep roads, and you're gonna find yourselves on some really steep roads here on Madeira, but in Portugal in general. And that small 1.2 liter gas engine just will not cut it. You'll be grinding it up the hill in first gear. You won't feel confident in your car. And if you don't feel confident driving, it's just not an enjoyable driving experience. You could get a bigger gas engine, but then you're probably in a bigger sedan or a bigger car. The next greatest option, like we moved to, was a diesel, a turbo diesel. There's so much power in a diesel to go up a hill, lots of confidence. We could fly up in second or third gear, no problem at all. Maybe they're not as eco-friendly as a gasoline engine. Another problem that we had with our gas engine was because of the steep roads, it was actually going down that caused even more frustration and more uncomfortableness because it tended to flood on the way down. You're constantly coasting down, all the gas is going forward, and when you get to the bottom of the hill, the engine started to shudder. It almost felt like the engine was going to jump out right from underneath the hood. I thought it was coming off the mounts. And we learned that it was because it was flooding, and what you're supposed to do is keep giving it shots of gas once in a while to burn off the extra. Too much aggravation, too much frustration. The diesel solved all that problem. The best choice, we feel, here on Madeira, more than any place else, is an EV. Now that's cool talk for electric vehicle. Madeira is the perfect island for electric vehicles. On one charge, you could easily nowadays get about 400 kilometers, which is more than enough for about 2 weeks worth of driving here on the island. You could go around the island 1.5, 2 times and still have enough charge. And with that, you might ask about parking spaces. There are plenty of electric vehicle parking spaces all over Funchal, all over the island. And all the parkades for the grocery stores or hotels are just on the street. There are spots dedicated for electric vehicles. Most of the time, you do not have to pay to park in those spots. You just pay to charge. Did you know that an electric vehicle charges itself going down a hill? It also brakes for itself going down a hill. So you save on brakes and you save on fuel that way. An electric vehicle, we hope, will be our third vehicle one day, maybe around 2025.
We purchased our Mini, which we think is a great car for the island. It's a lot of fun to drive and it's diesel. It gets up the hills really, really well. We know that there is an electric Mini with 2 doors, but we always want a 4-door for when our family comes to visit. We like having room in the back seat, and of course for Leo. In 2025, when the electric 4-door Mini comes out, that's something we would be really interested in.
Where do you buy a car here on the island of Madeira? Good news, there is plenty of choice, both used and new. So let's start with the dealerships. There are so many dealerships here on the island. If you buy a new car, you may have to wait 2 or 3 months to have it delivered, but that time goes by so quick here on the island anyways. The used car business here on Madeira is also thriving. It's not the same as what you would expect with a used car mega center. There's a lot of little individual used car dealerships kind of speckled across the island. All through Funchal, we bought our car, both our cars in Canache, which is above Caleta. Sometimes just touring around the island, touring around Funchal, either on foot or in a rental car or by bus, you'll see these little individual dealerships tucked into these little lots, and they're worth just walking through and talking to because there are so many to choose from. Just go for test drives. We made our way to one used car lot, test drove a vehicle that we were interested in. We got dropped off in the area of the next lot, walked around the corner, went to a different used car lot, and then test drove that one to another area where there's another used car lot. We just kind of made a day of it. We kind of called it Spider-Manning our way around Funchal, going to the different lots, and we're always just getting dropped off where we needed to. And it's a good way to test drive the vehicles and see the different lots. You can cover quite a few in just in one day. But definitely check out the mainland, good prices, easy shipping.
When you purchase on the mainland, there's more selection, prices tend to be better than here on the island, and you can ship a car from the mainland to Madeira. Another car that we're really interested in terms of electric vehicle is the Peugeot E208 GT. That would be an excellent car for the island of Madeira. Friends of ours have ordered this car from the mainland, used on the mainland. They had the shipping, which is about 600 euros, included in the price of the vehicle. And that vehicle is an excellent choice because it has features that rival more expensive electric vehicles. Many of you have asked if they have automatic cars here in Madeira. And they do. They're not as common. Most cars that you find on the island are standard, and our Mini is a standard. But it was different learning to drive standard here on the hills. One thing that I really appreciate is that when you come to a stop, either uphill or downhill, and you take your foot off the brake, there's a 3-second delay before it starts to roll. So then you have a second to put it either in first or in reverse, which is really, really helpful. Back when we used to drive standards in the 90s, there wasn't that delay, and you were always feathering the brake and you were always worried about rolling. We don't find that so much here. Even I'm driving.
Fun fact, the license plates stay with the car no matter who buys it. One thing I want to talk about is the quality of cars here on Madeira. They look after their cars. You rarely, if ever, see any rust. I don't think I've seen any rust here on the island. Sometimes it's hard to tell what year a car is. It's in such good shape. It's only by looking inside and seeing the electronics that you get an idea of what year that car may be. The easiest way with the older license plate is to look in the top right corner, and I think this is all across Europe, where they show the year that the car was made. The newer plates don't have that. In addition to the used car lots that are everywhere, there's the Hertz Supercenter here. Now, I've heard people say I would never want to buy a used rental car, but I have to tell you, again, they are so looked after here on the island. They go over them with a fine-tooth comb, brakes, clutch, transmission, and a lot of times the cars from the rentals, such as Hertz Supercenter, only have about 50 or 60,000 kilometers on them. They're just well looked after. Used cars from any used car dealership come with an 18-month warranty by law, and Hertz offers a 3-year warranty on the cars they sell. So buying a used rental car is not something to worry about here. You probably won't have any problems. The used car dealerships, the new car dealerships, Hertz Supercenter, places like that, that's fairly easy. You're gonna have warranty, you're gonna have a good selection. You can buy cars privately through Facebook Marketplace or online, and that's an option as well. I don't think you get the warranty with that, and you always have to wonder if you're buying somebody else's problem when you're buying privately. So personally, I always suggest sticking with the used car dealerships here, or new if that's what you're looking for as well.
Brands here in Portugal, Madeira, may be different than the brands of cars that you know back home. So here you do see electric Porsches and Teslas. We see them often, but we also see brands like Renault, which was different for us, Peugeot, Skoda, Volkswagen, and Seat, which is essentially Volkswagen made in Spain. And of course, we see Minis. And we think the Mini is absolutely the perfect car for the island. We did start off with a gas car. If you remember, we had a Fiat, which is another car that you see on the island. It wasn't that powerful and it struggled a little bit to get up the hills.
What's it like parking on Madeira? Don't be afraid of parking here on Madeira. There's parking everywhere. At first it might seem a little bit unnerving with the small spaces and the slopes, but you'll get the hang of it whether it's a standard or an automatic. It's fairly easy to park here. There's lots of parking parkades and there's lots of parking stalls, and it's easy to pay for the parking as well. They have an app called iPark. They have your usual parking stations where you can put coins in and get a ticket out and put it on your dash. But with the app, the iPark app, it's so much easier. You just have money loaded on there, and when you park, you swipe your app, start your parking, it knows where you are, and when you're finished parking, you swipe it and it calculates how much you have to pay, and it's usually about €1, €1.20. The parkades under the hotels are a little bit more expensive, but they're well worth it, they're well placed, and it makes it easy. So parking is not an issue here on the island. Now, if you're getting on in your years, you can always hire a driver to get you to certain places that you want here, whether that's by Bolt or taxi or a private driver. But if you still want to be out and see things all over the island, you do need a car here on Madeira.
We hope that the tips that we've shared help you if you're thinking of purchasing a car, or even if you're just coming and you want to spend a few days renting a car.
Small,
powerful,
and preferably electric.
Thank you for spending some of your day with us. And as always, check back in and
track us down.